I've yet to walk out of a gym after a half-decent workout and think, oh, I regret doing that. Remember, ladies and gents, nobody regrets a workout.
Unless you're in the gym doing this. This is just ridiculous. Well, welcome back, guys. And if you're new, we go through all of these gym viral clips, debunk them, discuss them, and just try to make sense of all this madness online. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing weight loss and building muscle and what kind of foods we should be eating and what a calorie deficit really even means. But let's have a look. So hats off to both of these women, amazing results in a year. So this just shows how much you can get done in a year as long as you're focused on the right things. So we don't need to be living in the gym, but if you're in a calorie deficit and you're training smart, this is what you can do. Now, when it comes to a calorie deficit, I saw in the comments people were confused, like how much should I go? Realistically, a 500 calorie deficit is quite extreme. So anything between sort of 200 and 500 calories is something that you're going to realistically be able to stick to. If you was to exceed 500 calorie deficit, you will probably lose a hell of a lot of muscle. Your hormone balance will be off. You're going to get terrible sleep. You're going to feel like shit, and you're more likely to stop. Whereas if you stick to something you know you can do. So some people might struggle with 500 calories. Honestly, I would. If I had to lose weight, I wouldn't want to get as low as 500. But if I was at 300 calorie deficit and I'm seeing consistent results, it be big or small, but I know if I was to drop it to 400, it's going to ruin my lifestyle, then I'll keep it at 300 because it's all about consistency anyway. Consistency over perfection.
I am not joking when I say that your calorie intake is the number one factor stopping you from either losing body fat or gaining size. So if you're going to do anything this year lifting wise, or make some kind of change in terms of your muscle growth, fuck man, even if you're a power lifter, a surplus is going to do you good. If you're going to make any change soon and really kind of, I'm not even talking like optimizing your diet like a fucking Olympic athlete, but I just mean getting a little bit more knowledgeable about what you're eating, how it's going to affect you, maybe eating specific foods at certain times instead of just, eating randomly, because there is an allure to not giving a fuck. And I don't mean that in a mean way. It's like some dudes just want to come to the gym, work hard, and just, eat what they want. And like that's just their shit. That's their prerogative.
Calorie intake is the most important thing when we're looking at building muscle or losing weight. In all the years I've been training people in the gym, it is clear that people think to increase volume is going to get you more results. So if someone is eating poorly for 10 years and train 3 times a week and not got results, they all think, okay, I'm going to train 6 days a week and I'll get more results. But the reality is, if you increase your workload and eat as bad as you were, you're just going to burn out. So in order to lose weight or build muscle, your nutrition needs to be at the forefront of your mind. If you are aware that you don't eat enough, you don't sleep enough, you definitely are dehydrated most of the time, I would urge you to train 2 to 3 times a week and you will probably get more results. Now, if you're not willing to put the work in outside of the gym, there's no point you busting your ass in the gym. So those 6 days in the gym are redundant if you're not willing to eat right, realistically. So what does eating right mean? So when you're looking at building muscle or losing weight, protein intake is so important. So anything between 1 to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. So I weigh around 90. I should be aiming for 180 grams of protein a day. Now, it's suggested that the best way to do this is in portions of 30 grams, but recent studies suggested that it doesn't matter as long as you get it in that day. But protein should be your best friend. Now, a lot of people seem to struggle with getting protein in during the day. Well, this is a really, really easy way.
Did you know that if you had 3 eggs for breakfast, 2 cans of tuna for lunch, a 300-gram steak for dinner, and a cup of Greek yogurt before bed, you would have eaten 190 grams of protein in one day without protein shakes?
Now, if I wanted to be in shape bad enough, that don't seem like a bad diet, honestly. So if you're looking to build muscle, this is the kind of diet you should be aiming for. So it doesn't have to be extravagant. You don't need to be spending hundreds of pounds on supplements. You just need to eat clean. Now, if you was to eat like this in attempt to lose weight, that's still going to work. And if you're in a 500 calorie deficit whilst eating this amount of protein, this is how much fat you can expect to lose.
64 grams. This is roughly how much body fat you will lose in a day from being in a 500 calorie deficit, which distributed across your entire body feels like the grand total of fuck all. 10 days of consistency, however, is 640 grams. Not bad. 30 days consistently, over 1.9 kilograms. What feels like slow progress in the moment adds up pretty quickly if you stay consistent. Commit to a month and you'll probably lose a few inches across your entire body. Commit to 3, you'll probably look like a completely different person. One day at a time.
I'm not going to sit here and convince you all that a 500 calorie deficit is an easy task. For most people, they will really struggle with that. So if you feel like that, my suggestion would be simply do it slower. Be in a calorie deficit, but a calorie deficit you can maintain for long periods of time. So maybe 100, 200 calorie deficit. But losing weight is a slow process. If you want to lose weight healthily and keep that weight off, we have to consider it a long game. It's the same with building muscle.
12.5 grams. That is roughly how much muscle you will build in a day by resistance training 2 to 3 times a week, which honestly seems pretty demotivating. 1 month of consistency, however, is 375 grams. Not bad. 3 months of consistency, over 1 kilogram of muscle gain. What feels like slow progress in the moment adds up pretty quickly if you stay consistent. Building muscle takes time and requires patience, but commit to a month and you'll notice big changes in your strength. Commit to 3, you and others will notice a drastic change in your body. One day at a time.
Throughout my career, a lot of people have asked me, can I lose fat and build muscle at the same time? Now, if you're a complete beginner to lifting weights, the answer is yes. Initially, you will build some muscle and lose weight at the same time. But long term, you're not able to do both at the same time. So my advice would be to get yourself in a small deficit to maintain muscle as best you can whilst dropping your body fat, learning the techniques, getting good in the gym. Then once we hit that target weight or fat percentage, we then will look at a surplus. So the opposite of deficit, maybe being in a 100, 200 calorie deficit, surplus. And that's where we're going to build muscle. But long term, we cannot do both. So if any of you guys sitting here on the fence watching this, thinking, I need to train, get to it, guys. Your life could completely change within a year. Just get yourself in a small deficit and start walking. And then we can build into weights. Don't forget to download my free muscle building blueprint down below. But if you want any personalized help, feel free to drop me a message down in the comments or contact me on Instagram and TikTok. Big thank you to everyone that subscribed already. It's been a weird couple of months trying to figure out this YouTube thing, but we're getting there. If there's any suggestions or any topics you want me to discuss, let me know. But thank you. I will see you all tomorrow. Take it easy.
Before I fall to the system, I'm gonna try and do good with my gifting and pray to the Lord for some wisdom. Pray. Hopefully someone will listen. Amen.